We're chatting it up with Twins left-handed pitching prospect Kody Funderburk on today's episode of Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On Minnesota Twins podcast. Today is Tuesday, January 11th. I'm your gracious host, Nash Walker. Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. So excited to welcome Twins left-handed pitching prospect Kody Funderburk to the show. Kody pitched very, very well across two levels last year. Cedar Rapids and Wichita got moved up. We're going to talk all about that today. Kody, first off, how are you doing? How's the offseason going?
Good. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. The offseason's going really good. I'm currently in Pennsylvania, so I'm freezing a little bit, but making it work. Gonna head to spring training here soon. So
very nice. Yeah, we talked to Matt Cantrino last week, and Matt told us that I think this week, actually, it's like the 14th or 15th. What's your timeline looking like?
I'll head down to Fort Myers this Sunday. I think I got my flight and everything, so
wow.
I'll head down Sunday, and basically start building up Monday and getting ready for the season.
What has the offseason looked like for you, Kody, as far as workload and throwing? And has it just been a normal offseason?
It's been the furthest from a normal offseason I've had, because after season ended, I had about 2 weeks back up here in Pennsylvania before I went out to Arizona to play in the fall league. I pitched there for about I think it was about 5 weeks. Did that, and then I came back to Pennsylvania, and the throwing buildup has been a little bit different since I played that extra month. So I'm still a little bit behind some of the other guys. I haven't quite gotten to bullpens or anything quite yet, but throwing, once I get down to Florida, I have like a week or two before I start getting on the mound again. Hopefully start facing some hitters.
Yeah, we have some great questions for you, a little bit about the Arizona Fall League too. I want to ask you the transition, because it looked like you started in Cedar Rapids, you were starting games and then moved out of the bullpen in Wichita. What was told to you during that transition? Is that going to be a permanent thing for next year?
So I wasn't quite told anything. When I got moved up to Wichita, I had one start, and then I ended up getting COVID after that start. So I think I missed 4 or 5 starts, somewhere in there. And with the year it was, with already all the pitching injuries throughout the whole entire minor leagues, I think the Twins were just being extra cautious in my build-up phase from missing that. So it was easier to just put me in the bullpen, let me throw 2 or 3 innings once I got to that point to come back into the game, rather than, try to do the workload of a starter after missing so much time and all the forearm injuries that happened throughout the year and stuff like that. So I just think it was kind of a needs basis. There was 6 or 7 starters already in Wichita. And so I think I just kind of got put in the bullpen to help, contribute and, build back up.
Yeah, you're right. Especially in the Twin system, there are a ton of injuries and elbow problems and forearm tightness, like you said, shoulder shutdowns. You pitched super well, 2.55 ERA, 30% strikeout rate this year, 11 strikeouts per 9. What changed, or what did you focus on over the shutdown in 2020?
I think the shutdown was the biggest blessing for me. Me and my fiance had plans to live down in Florida for that season. So we had moved down there, and then obviously we got shut down and everything. So I had access to the facility for quite a while, and I think getting the year to truly develop and focus on the things I needed to work on really changed my game. I lost some weight. I started moving a lot better. I was obviously at the facility, so I had access to all the Rapsodos, the weight room, the coaches, everything that you could need. And really, it was just a year of work. And I think that's what really helped me, because it helped me gain confidence. And then, I think it translated to the field pretty well.
For Twins fans who don't know, Kody, what are they going to see from your repertoire if they watch you in the minors or for the Twins one day?
I'm a 3-pitch mix guy. I'm not a huge velo guy. I'm a left-handed fastball, slider, changeup. The fastball has a pretty heavy cut on it, so it goes into right-handers. The slider's a little shorter with some depth to it. The changeup is a changeup I've been working on getting more depth, killing spin, and it has a pretty good amount of arm side run. So the fastball and the changeup are pretty different from each other. Um, and the slider's a little bit shorter, but that's pretty much just a 3-pitch mix.
So where are you getting these big strikeout numbers from? Is it that kind of cutter, or are you throwing that slider to both sides of the plate?
What I think picked up my strikeouts this year was being more in the zone, throwing a lot more strikes, getting a lot more head in the count. And for a while, I had great feel for my slider, and it plays pretty well off the fastball if I'm tunneling it right, because the fastball kind of plays more horizontal and slider kind of has a little depth to it. So I think getting ahead early in counts and then mixing in the slider in season was, I think, why I got so many strikeouts.
JD has a question kind of along those lines, Kody. He asked, what does your player development plan look like? What does the org want you to work on, and how is that communicated, and what tools are you given to support that development this offseason and into next year?
So the biggest thing that we're working on right now is killing velo on the changeup. Right now, like I said, my fastball is only about 90, 91, maybe 92, 93 on given days. And the changeup in recent past can be up to 87 to 89. So it's not a whole lot of difference. I still get some swing and miss on it because of the movement, and it's so different from the fastball. But it's going to make it even better if I can kill some velo on it. Get that swing and miss, front to back instead of the movement getting the swing and miss.
What would you say is your go-to? You talk about the slider a little bit. Are you still fastball heavy, or do you consider your slider your best pitch?
No, I would say I'm very fastball heavy. I want to say even some points in the year I was throwing my fastball like 70% of the time and slider like 20-25%. And changeup in season, the changeup was only no more than 10% of the time. It changed a little bit when I went to the AFL, obviously working on that velo kill. But I would definitely say my fastball is my favorite pitch to throw. It's probably my best pitch to throw. I can control it the best. It produces the most weak contact and swing and miss, I would say, out of all three of my pitches.
Twins fans are looking, Kody, for exciting starting pitchers coming up, definitely after the season in 2021. What did you notice in Wichita and in Cedar Rapids? The guys you were around, we hear about Jordan Balazovic, we hear about Louis Varland, we hear about all those guys. What have you noticed in the system being around those guys and pitching with them?
Just pure talent. I mean, Jordy. I mean, you can't say enough about Jordy. I mean, he's 5 to 7, touches 8 with an absolute banger of a curveball, and he was working on his split change during the year. And I mean, to take on a grip change in the middle of the year and have the success that he had, he's a dude. I mean, there's some other young guys. I know Ben Gross coming up too. When he got up to AA, he's got really, really good stuff. I would just say it's talent from what I've seen and what I've heard from other orgs, is a great mix of player development. And I know the Twins are very heavy on it, and I've experienced it, and I've developed and got a lot better. I think they get guys that are really good, and they know how to make them even better.
Seth was asking, Kody, about pitching in your backyard in the Arizona Fall League. How fun was that?
That was awesome. I knew once I had gotten COVID in the middle of the year, I knew there was a slight chance, a possibility that I would get invited to that. And so when I finally got that opportunity, my parents were pumped. I was pumped to go, back home to Arizona. I got to live at home while I played. And it was actually a really, really good time.
We got more questions for Kody after this word from Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever. It's healthy. It's delicious. Built Bars are great for you. Plus, for the New Year's season, you can throw out all of those treats. Throw them all out. The Snickers, the Twix, all of it. Throw it out. Replace it with Built Bars. Built Bar really is the best tasting protein bar ever. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. Only 130 calories, 4 grams of net carbs in a Built Bar. You can go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15. That's Built.com, promo code LOCKED15. Back with Kody Funderburk. Got more good questions for him. Josiah asks if you made any adjustments when you were in the Arizona Fall League. and notes that it is an amazing place for hitting.
Mhm. Yeah, no, like I said, the changeup was the focus that the Twins wanted me to work on in the AFL. Um, so we made a slight adjustment, a cue on it, and I'm seeing a little bit of success with it. I like where it's at. It could still use 1 or 2 miles an hour off, but that was the big adjustment I made was trying to work on the changeup while also trying to compete against some of the best hitters. And there was some really good hitters down there. Um, and a lot of offense, honestly, that I saw.
Who were some of those guys you faced? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think one of the Bryson Scott from the Phillies was a big name. Man, who else? He was the one that I felt like when he stood in the box, he looked the part of a big league hitter. He had the confidence, the swagger, and the way he took my fastball and spit on the slider and other pitches, and I think is a legit, big league dude.
When you think about it, Kody, and you see yourself pitch against righties and lefties, do you see a stark difference? Do you feel like you'll have like pretty even splits, or do you think you'll dominate lefties and still working? I know you're working on that changeup for righties, but what does it look like now?
With the cutter, I would say I'm more confident versus right-handed hitters, just because it gets in on their hands. It's a different pitch from most lefties or two-seam arm side run. Um, Lefties, I have two pitches that work the same way, like when it comes out my slot. And I don't really throw changeup a whole lot to lefties, so it's a little bit easier for lefties to kind of sit, middle away on the outer half and just kind of work the ball that way. And me not throwing, 95, 96, they have a little bit extra time to sit on it. Um, Whereas righties, when it's getting in on their hands, like they kind of have to choose quickly. And then with the mix of the changeup fading the other way, um, I think it makes it a little bit harder on righties than I actually do on lefties.
There are a lot of questions and musings about playing both sides of the ball, as is kind of the
Mhm.
case now in Major League Baseball. We're hearing about more guys doing
Yeah.
that, and you were doing it. What changed there? You stopped playing. You were playing
Uh-huh.
first, I believe, right?
Yep.
What kind
Right.
of stopped there?
That choice was made for me. I had no choice in that. When I got drafted by Minnesota, that I found out on draft day when I hear my name called, they said left-handed pitcher. That's when I found out I was gonna stop hitting. Um, yeah, I mean, I
You
hit my
miss
whole
it?
life. Do I miss it?
Yeah.
I did for a while. I do miss hitting home runs and rounding the bases and playing every day. Um, but I have learned to love my life as a pitcher and the workload of a pitcher. Because I mean, I see our hitters in spring training. If I don't have a bullpen or a live, my days are mostly done around 10, 11 ish.
Mhm.
And those guys are there all day hitting and working. And I used to be a cage rat, but now I've learned to love pitching and enjoy it, and find the joys in the successes of pitching.
That's what makes it so amazing for like Otani and the other guys is
I, it's unbelievable.
the day-to-day workload for sure. Your
Exactly.
buddy Riley asks why you insisted on taking him deep every inner squad. So it sounds like you are hitting bombs when you're at the plate.
I used to swing it a little bit. I actually don't ever remember Riley. I don't ever remember hitting a home run off him. I always remember him dicing me up. Honestly, he's nice little lefty with a curveball that those guys usually kind of ate my lunch. So I don't remember him taking him deep at all.
Well, Cody, you have kind of you have a sense of hitting too then. If you were,
Mhm.
hitting and pitching all the way through. So similar to the question about pitchers you've seen in the
Mhm.
system at Cedar Rapids, Matt Wallner, and
Yeah,
Wichita, Austin Martin and Spencer Steer and those guys.
yeah.
What are some of the things you've seen out of the hitting prospects in the Twin system?
You mentioned Spencer Steered. He's one of the best. He has one of the best right-handed swings I think I've ever seen. Especially when he was in CR, he barreled everything. And as I've gone each level from junior college to college or to DBU to pro ball, my first year in pro ball, there's always like a dude that kind of stands out. And I would say Steer has stood out to me. He is the barrel accuracy is unbelievable mixed with some pop. I think he hit like 16 or 17 jimmies this year and plays third base, second base. Um, and he can really swing it. You said Austin Martin too. Once he came over to Wichita in that trade, I mean the kid's talented. He's fast. He can go running out in center field. He got a little pop. He got contact. Like both those guys can do it all. Um, Really impressive.
What's your plan? Have you been, so you'll go to spring training,
Mhm.
you said Sunday, right? You'll go
Yep.
Sunday, and then do you know if you're starting in Wichita?
I haven't been told anything yet. That's the goal, is to start there, hopefully, since I ended there last year. But I haven't been told anything yet.
Okay, gotcha. Hopefully, Wichita, and then quickly here in St.
Mhm.
Paul.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and I think when we watched you last year and we saw
Mhm.
kind of the developments you made, it did. You can find there's pictures in the system and all around. You can see just like strides from 2019 to 2021.
Mhm.
What's your main goal? It can be the changeup, or it can be getting to AAA or the bigs. But
Mhm.
what are you looking at this summer? Some guys just say health. Some guys are like, I just want to stay healthy because I know I can get it done. But what's your main goal this summer in 2022, Kody?
Yeah, I mean, staying healthy is one of it. I've seen through my couple years in pro ball that if you can take care of your body, then you're gonna keep moving up and you're gonna play. Overall, I'd like to just keep the same mentality I had last year. I kind of had the Twins have a philosophy of called throw nasty stuff in the zone. And I kind of took that as like just being relentless of everything needs to be in the zone, no matter what the count, even if it's 2 strike. Like I want to be throwing strikes. I want the hitter to feel like they're getting ambushed, and I always want to be on top. And I think I saw that this last year. I threw a lot more strikes. I walked less guys, and it helped my confidence. Like when I was standing on the mound, like I knew my stuff was better than the guy in the box. Um, and I knew if I was going to be in the zone competing, that I was more than likely going to have a good outcome more times than not.
Has there been, I mean, I know this is kind of it's a touchy subject a little bit for starting pitchers, but have you ever considered your success out of the bullpen? Have you thought about it at all? Or are you still just super focused on building the workload?
Of course. I mean, once I got out of the bullpen in Wichita, I spent the whole second half of the year at like being a reliever. It's a little bit different than being a true reliever because I knew which days I was throwing. I was throwing behind Sands, once a week, Cole Sands. But I mean, I was still only going 2 to 3 stints. I came in with runners on in certain situations later in the game. There was a couple games I went 3 innings, had to close it out. Between being a bullpen guy and a starter, I would have to choose personally to be a starter just because I like my routine. I like knowing what days I'm throwing, um, and just having that time before games to make sure my body's ready and prepared. But at the same time, I didn't mind being thrown in the fire as a bullpen guy. You kind of don't really have time to stress or worry or think. You just kind of gotta get in the game and do it.
Did you notice any uptick in your stuff when you moved up to Wichita coming out in those shorter stints, or were you kind of throwing the same?
I would say I was still about the same, velo wise and stuff wise. The good thing was I kept in the zone. I was still throwing a lot of strikes. Um, so I would say it was about the same.
Kody Funderburk, really excited to watch you this summer. I know Twins fans definitely are. You can follow Kody at Kody Funderburk. You see it here if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not, it's at KODYFUNDERBURK. Kody, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Good luck. Safe travels Sunday. We'll be watching you all year. Thanks so much.
Sweet. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.